Welcome to Big Blend Radio's third Tuesday Go to Natchitoches show, where we explore what you can experience in the state of Louisiana's oldest city. Hey, everybody. So excited today. We're going to talk about July events in Natchitoches, Louisiana. As you all know, Natchitoches is the oldest city or settlement in the state of Louisiana, and we're talking a hub of diversity in culture and natural opportunities and history. It is one of our favorite places, as everybody knows. And we're going to talk about the 44th annual Natchitoches-NSU Folk Festival. It's coming up Saturday, July 20th, 2024. You know, Nancy and I travel the country, go to events, go to all kinds of communities, but this is hands down on our top 10 list of events and festivals in the country. It truly is something that, well, it's roots, man. It's all about the roots and the folk life. And the music is fantastic, the food, the community, just all the artistic vendors. It is truly something to put on your calendar. It is not a typical big city festival. It is immersive. You get to meet people. I don't know. I love it, as you can tell. So we have Dr. Shane Rasmussen here. He is a professor of English, so he's going to probably proofread everything in the episode notes. And he's also the director of the Louisiana Folklife Center, which is actually one of the first things we did in Natchitoches when we visited back 10 years ago. Yeah, wow. So welcome back to the show, boy. Dr. Shane. How are you? I know we're getting younger. Huh?
I remember that visit, and it does not seem like 10 years.
Oh man, that was amazing. 10 years ago. And then we went and I want to say we met with Dr. Pete. Am I getting this right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
that's right.
And he took us to Pete Gregory, and he took us through the Williamson Museum. It was a part of the museum. It's all on the campus at NSU. And Nancy and I both looked at each other and went, we've just entered a whole new world of history and everything else. You know, we'd been traveling the West pretty much on our tour, our Love Your Parks tour, and it just went, oh my, we're here now. And this is going to be deep. And we went to the Cane River Creole National Historical Park and then started digging into the heritage area and Kisatchie National Forest. And then we thought, well, if we ever stop our tour, we're going to move here. And that pretty much could still be true, but we're not stopping for a very long time. But, we'd covered genealogy and, you know, history for years, but that visit and the Folklife Centers, you know, I had no idea until we stepped in there. You know what I mean? One of those places that just change everything for you of what you think you may know.
Also, you've mentioned some of the great places that we have in Natchitoches. I think it's funnest when people, is that a word, funnest? When they make it a weekend.
You're the English professor.
They come to the festival on, I know. I think the most fun option is to come on a Saturday and, you know, go to some of our excellent restaurants and then go to the festival on Saturday and then stay, you know, stay through the weekend, go to some great things on Monday, you know, go to these state and national parks. They're wonderful. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the Natchitoches, I mean, the historical part, the Cane River, historical park is amazing. Everyone should see that.
You know, I think it's so funny because the first time we came in 2014, we didn't go to the festival, but we were there in July. And it was a tradition that we just kept coming in July. So every time we came back to Natchitoches, finally we did go to the 40th annual festival, which was a biggie. And that festival, just like I said, it was hands down just such a cultural experience, immersive experience, that we'll never ever forget it. But before we get into the festival, we've got Nicole Connell here, and she is from the Natchitoches Convention and Tourism Bureau. So everyone, you could go to natchitoches.com, natchitoches.com. Okay, so the link is in the show notes. The link for the festival is also in the show notes, which is, good luck on this, louisianafolklife.nsula.edu. It's all in the episode notes. But welcome back, Nicole. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So July in Natchitoches gets a little warm, right? But I believe we can, you know, cool off in some rivers and lakes. Is that true?
That is true. Yeah.
Alligators?
Well, we have seen them moving in the last couple weeks. We've seen some big boys down towards the south end of the river moving around a little bit. So they're still here. We don't mess with them. They don't mess with us kind of thing.
Well, you know what? I get all these, on Facebook, you know how we get inundated. You look at one thing and then you get thousands of here, you're going to watch all of this now. Well, alligators. I love alligators. Nancy and I will do anything to get anywhere near swamps and alligators, snakes, all of that stuff. We love it. And, I saw a lady I don't know where she was in Louisiana, but on Facebook, she's all, y'all, this is how you know if there's an alligator nearby. If you're, getting in the water or you're fishing or whatever. She goes to the edge of a boat ramp in water, puts her hands and flicks her hand in the water. I'm like, well, now you're attracting activity as far as I'm concerned. But she puts her hand in there and she says, now you feel the water. Now, if the water feels wet, there's an alligator nearby. I just want to understand about this. I've watched this 10 times because I'm trying to find the tip in this. Do you have any comments on that? Like,
if the water's wet, there's no telling what's in it around here.
But exactly. If the water's wet,
we have some alligators in Cane River. Yep.
Oh, but that's why you take the Cane River, the queen, the riverboat queen.
Yeah, right. Get on the boat. Yep. They won't bother you on the boat.
No. And it's awesome. I love that boat ride. And you get to see the houses. You get to, it's a beautiful, beautiful trip. But July, what are you all doing when it's, the temperatures start to get warm? And listen, the Folklife Festival, everybody, it's on the campus, and, Dr. Shane's going to go in through that, but it's air conditioned. Okay. So just saying, and by the way, early morning and all that, it's beautiful. So evenings you can walk around. It's nice. We had no complaints. So, but we like swampy places. So, so Nicole, what's going on in July before we get into the nitty gritty of the festival?
Right. Well, we have one of your favorite events coming up at the beginning of the month on the first Friday of every month. So for July, it would be the 5th. We have our American Cemetery tour.
We love that.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Scotty does a good program at the cemetery. It gets kicked off at 11:30 at the main gate, free of charge for anybody who wants to come out, get a tour of the oldest cemetery in Louisiana. That title used to be held by a cemetery in New Orleans, but it had to be relocated because of the sea level down there. So we have the oldest cemetery in Louisiana now.
And Saint Denis may be buried there, but we don't know.
Well, there's rumor that he's buried at the corner of Church Street Bridge too. So we're not really sure where he is. He may be under that building. He may be in the American Cemetery.
Bring your psychic with you.
Yes, if you can find him. And then throughout the month, every Saturday, we have our farmers market down on the riverbank, which is getting bigger and bigger by the weekend. Lots of local artistry can be found there. Most all of the businesses in the historic district are also open on those weekends. And so it's a great time just to get out, look at Cane River. They are still continuing work on the rock house, but the tall fences are gone, and you can now see all the beautiful work that they've done on there while you're at the farmers market.
Well, back up on the rock house so people know, because this is a historic site, and it's part of the Cane River National Heritage Area. In fact, Natchitoches is part of that. And the byway, like if you go the scenic byway, heritage byway to Cane River Creole National Historical Park, Melrose Plantation, and that's going to tie back to the festival. We'll talk about that in a second. But this is really part of that history of it's a deep roots, and that's what we're talking about today, right? Deep roots.
It is. So the rock house was moved many, many years ago to the riverbank. It is believed to be the first house built by a freedman of color. It has been a massive restoration project since the flooding of 2016. The house is now complete. They're working on the grounds. They've had their grand opening ceremony. They are going to furnish the house and have some interpretive pieces there and offer it to the public to see just how life on Cane River was many, many years ago.
That's amazing.
It is still a work in progress. The exterior is done. The grounds are almost done. But you can see it if you're down on the riverbank now. So it's absolutely beautiful. So that is going to be a major piece for us in being able to tell our story and the history of our area and of our Cane River. So it's going to be just another beautiful aspect to Natchitoches.
Well, I love this because we are talking about Louisiana roots and folk life, right? And when a cemetery, they have roots. A lot of trees in there. It's nice and shaded. And by the way, it's a good place to bird watch too. Most cemeteries are graveyards. Let me get it straight. Yeah, the graveyard cemetery. Graveyard is at the church. Cemetery is on the outside, right? I think so. Scotty's going to get mad at me if I don't get it right.
Yeah.
But he'll tell you about it when you go there. But I mean, you're going to have.
He does.
You're going to
Very
have
interesting.
that gravesite. Oh boy, I'm going to get in so much trouble. When you go in the cemetery tour, it is a cemetery. When you go there, you're going to. By the way, there's visiting cats, which is cool always. But you're going to go from the murder of a mayor all the way to women's history. You've got soldiers. You've got, it's incredible, the stories of people. And that's the beauty of going to a cemetery. And then you go downtown, like you were saying, there's shopping, but you've also got the oldest mercantile store in the state of Louisiana, the Cafe Frederick Mercantile Store. And listen, they have Coke in bottles. I'm just going to say it. Like, there's nothing like Coke in a bottle. It's different. They're just, it isn't, it's good. It's just good. It's just good.
It is good and cold.
Yeah. And there's an art gallery downtown. There's the river, like we're talking about, also, Cane River Lake. It's not a river, but it's Cane River Lake, but it's accessible right from the downtown where the farmers market is too. I think that really ties again into Natchitoches' roots because of all the plantations you have. Obviously, it's a beautiful growing region. In fact, your whole region, even going south of you into central Louisiana, you have nurseries. And I mean, it's like you can grow anything in Louisiana. I feel like just throw the seeds out and walk away and, it's going to grow. But what kind of, with Natchitoches, we have not done this yet. That is something I would love to do is the farmers market. Are these like, I know you've got a lot of artisans, which is great, which ties in again to what we're going to talk about with the folk festival. But Nicole, are these local growers of fruits and vegetables? I mean,
they are.
I know you got to be getting okra, right?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
They're all local from around the area. Our soil around the Red River is very rich and it makes for great gardening. We have some people that have mastered the art of gardening in this area. So we have, all of your local favorites. We have local honey, which they say is good for the allergies if you have honey from your area. And then we have the handmade gifts as well. So just all kinds of local components down on the riverbank for our farmers market.
Down on the riverside.
Yeah.
All right. So
speaking of down the river, on the 13th is the Zydeco breakfast that's growing in popularity at the Cane River Commissary. I have been told recently that although the event starts at 9:00, the line starts at 7:30. So
what?
So people are chomping at the bit to get down to the commissary to.
They might need to start doing it more than once a month, right?
Yeah. He says that that's his way showing his customers just how much he loves them coming out. He makes sure that they have live music for everybody that comes out. It's just a great time. You could get there at 7:00 and not leave till lunchtime. It is just a great time with music. You'll see tourists and locals alike just getting down.
That I think that's what it is about Natchitoches. And I found that at the folk festival too, is like when we go around, you go in the store, everybody it's not like, oh, you're a tourist. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's when a community is welcoming and friendly, genuine. It's genuine. And I don't know, it's like one of the friendliest places we've been to. And I think that's true. Cane River Commissary, I mean, you're all shaded. You can sit inside or go outside, and the outside is always cool if you can do it. And it's all shaded, and you're in Louisiana. If you're not from this, Louisiana, and I want people to explore beyond New Orleans. I'm not knocking New Orleans. We'll be there this year. And it's an incredible city, right? With such huge history. But I think people need to wander out, even if just for 2 days or 3 days. But when you go to Natchitoches, you may fall in love with it. Like Nancy and I, and we don't want to leave.
Yeah.
Whenever we get there, there's like, well, then we can eat over here. And then, oh, we better start walking or doing something, go for a hike in Kisatchie National Forest. So it's pretty incredible. Dr. Shane, did you have any other events, Nicole? I didn't want to cut you off on that.
Oh, no. So we just have our farmers market runs every Saturday this month. The first Friday will be the walking tour of the cemetery. And then, of course, our Zydeco breakfast that we just talked about will be on the 13th. So,
all right.
Our huge event is the folk festival, and I'm glad we're fixing to get all kind of information about that.
I'm excited, but I'm bummed because we're not going to be there, and that sucks. It does. Dr. Shane, like, can you run our schedule from now on? Dr. Shane, Nancy and I love this festival, and we love talking about it beforehand. You were on our shows previous to finally getting there to the festival. I know we want to talk about music and art, but since we were talking about the farmers market and you have a bunch of food vendors, I'm going to skip ahead, okay? Because nothing ever goes as planned on these podcasts. But I want to go to that because it's traditional Louisiana cuisine. When we were there, we were getting, like meat pies and everything. I think we had Indian tacos while we were there too. Fry bread. We had fry bread. That's what
yes.
And an Indian
they're so wonderful, aren't they?
Yeah. So, and there was somebody with like I don't want to say a chuck wagon, but they were doing like some kind of like old school cooking when we were there. I don't know if it was chuck. I'm thinking of my Southwest roots here, but tell us a little bit about, and you got a Jambalaya Cookoff. That's kind of a newer thing, right?
We do. Last year we did a gumbo cook-off, and that was great. We had some really fine gumbo, and some of it, one of the winners was some folks that are coming again this year to do a Dutch oven. They do Dutch oven cooking right out front, and they sell that. I think it's like $1. They give you some. It's just incredibly cheap, and of course it's $1 a cup to try the jambalaya.
$1 a cup. That's perfect.
I know. Isn't that wonderful? So you can kind of, and you can certainly make your vote for people's choice. Also, not just that, but we have Ricky Bechet is coming back from Texas, and he does the nuts and also the homemade fudge. And we have one of my favorite is Roosevelt Sykes does his, I guess you could say he called it soul food. And my favorite aspect of it is the crackling. And he's right outside. They can't cook inside, because of the fire marshal, and I dig that. But he's outside, and he's got that grease going. And, boy, he comes in, and it's fresh and hot, and he puts that seasoning right on there. So it's salty, but just a wee bit sweet. And, oh, my heck, it may not be good for my heart in one way, physically, but it's so good for my heart emotionally. When I have that pig fat melting in my mouth, oh, it is good. Well, and of course we have.
I would just say
go ahead.
Dr. Jackie comes on our show every second Wednesday, and she says you're allowed to do things that are good for your heart, but then the next day you're not allowed to. So you're allowed.
Okay.
You're allowed to have your splurges, but you can't do a splurge every day. That's all. So you can do it at the
your
festival.
Splurge for the festival. I get it. Save it for that, and save it also for Debbie's meat pies. And it's not just, they say Debbie's meat pies, but they also have the other types as well, like the fruit pies. I give a shout out to the lemon because it's amazing. And they do some breakfast pies too that are just incredible. And of course they do the Natchitoches meat pie. We got some really great. So we have all the food. I think there will be 8 vendors this year. If not more. But also, in addition to that, people love the crafts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because they're amazing. These are the real, genuine folk crafts. People have passed these traditions down from face to face, from one tradition bearer to the next. They're things that mean something to their folk communities. And so, whether it's the traditional blacksmithing that they're doing outside, or whether it's the Czech Pisanki eggs, or the handmade banjos or what have you, or whether it's Dustin Fuquay, who's going to be, pounding the sassafras leaves into the handmade filet right there. And those leaves are deveined. I mean, they're harvested at just the right time. There's an art to this, like every craft. And when you see that little green, like almost like a vapor, that green little cloud escape that, where he's pounded it in that, and you go, wow, and you get a whiff of that. And it's so fresh, and it's better than anything you're going to get in the store. And of course, you can go buy some from him right there. So, and that is the heart of the crafts, is that you walk in and you're going to see 75, 80 minimum crafts people. We've invited over 100. So you're going to see 75 to 80 minimum crafts people working on their crafts, whether it's Christy Castile doing her tatting, or whether it's someone doing the spinning and weaving, whether it's wood carving, or they're making a handmade whip, or whatever it might be. They're going to be making it right there. And, a lot of them all of them are from these different folk communities, whether that's Creole or African American or Native American. And so, and their crafts are coming out of those traditional communities.
So that's what I was going to ask you about it, because Louisiana folk art, there's folk art, like Clementine Hunter is part of your poster, right? Her art, and she's famously from Melrose Plantation, was working there as a field hand. And then, and Melrose Plantation is a hub of artists for the region. And it was like we do a lot of work with the National Parks Arts Foundation, and they do artist residencies in parks around the country. And I always bring up Clementine Hunter, and I was like, she was an artist in residence, just nobody knew it, at Melrose Plantation. You know what I mean? She was working there, but these people that went there, it was like these, and I look back at the history of like New England and how the artists all got together, the WPA and all of that, how up back east in the north, how all these artists congregated, and that when I heard about Melrose Plantation and went there, I kind of felt like this was kind of this Louisiana hidden art community and writers.
Yeah.
And so she kind of came from that. And so when we find out about the folk festival, I kind of feel like that's a direct tie of what happened at Melrose Plantation in a way. And then all the fabulous writers and artists you have in Natchitoches itself through the years, through history. So, but you're letting people come in from Texas. And so tell them, can you just let us it's a Louisiana, it's a Louisiana festival, but you're also understanding the community, the surrounding communities in a way, right? And cultures that are living here presently, not here because I'm not there, but I want to be there, presently, but also that were historically connected, right? Am I getting this right?
You're getting them right.
Okay.
You're right in the zone. And that's going to be on our T-shirt, the Clementine Hunter image. That's from a painting called Dancin'. And, Tommy Whitehead owns that painting, and he said, you can use it for free. I want you to use it. I own it, so it's going to be legal and official. Ooh. And, authentic. So, nice. So we put that on our poster, and it's going to be our T-shirt. But, there is so much talent and so much art in this area that it kind of boggles the mind. And, but we invite people from all throughout Louisiana, and also, you were right, East Texas as well. For example, just to give you one example, Sharon Dickerson Jackson, she's a broom maker. I first met her.
We met her. Yeah.
Oh, she's wonderful, isn't she?
Yes.
No, you're great. I met her at the Texas Renaissance Festival, and she was hand making these brooms, and I said, "You got to come to our festival. You are doing amazing work." And she said, "Okay," and she makes these just authentic, beautiful brooms. Or there's a Philip, and his name is Shark, and he does these excellent handmade quills. He carves and cuts right there in front of you, and then he shows you how to, use the ink that he hand makes as well to use that in the way that they would have in the old ways. So, or whether it's John Vidrine doing cigar box guitars, or for example, some of those. Oh, I know. Some of the native communities, Stephanie Escude with the Native American dolls, or Myrna Wilson with the Coshada pine straw baskets. Alice Tyler doing the Clifton Choctaw beadwork, or another group, Frida Tuma doing the Czech Pisanki eggs. And these folks are working on that stuff right there. Janet Noah's going to be hand spinning right there in the festival. The Campty Historic Museum quilters, or the St. Augustine Christian Mothers, they're going to be making their quilt right there at the festival. It's just, you get a sense of what these crafts mean to them, and you can go up and talk to them about how they're making it and why they're making it that way. And their enthusiasm is greater than mine. It just comes off of them because this is what they devoted their lives to. And of course, if you want to buy some, they're happy to buy it to sell it to you too. So frankly, it's one of the best Christmas markets you can go to in July.
Yeah, when you go shop, Christmas in July. But I also want to say, like, the fact that you have so many diverse crafts and cultures, like you were talking about Texas, East Texas and Natchitoches are like linked hand in hand in history. At one point, they were one. So I want to bring that up. So there's a lot more Latin American, or I should say Hispanic heritage, also being represented at the festival, which I think is great. And it just shows this, diverse culture that Natchitoches has and that region, right? So you're very regional in that, even though it's Natchitoches, but Natchitoches has multicultural roots, from African to Creole to Hispanic, Native American, English, French, all of it. It's in there. Some Italian, Spanish, it's
You're
there.
Right. You're right.
I mean, you guys are a gumbo pot, like, of culture, and it's wonderful. When we went around to all the vendors, and we did film the lady with the brooms, and we're like, what, who gets to see this every day? And talk to all the, we talked to dancers, because you have dancing lessons. And then, there was Victorian dancing, and then there was, Cajun dance. It was like all kinds of dancing, right? And we'll get into the music and the theme, which is the old songs live forever. But these crafts, and talking to these crafters, because crafting is a lot of, it's hands-on. It's hands-on work. There's not huge money in it for them. This is true passion. It's also representing a way of life historically. So what I want to make a case for is this is a perfect festival to bring your kids and get them to understand things beyond a cell phone or a smartphone or their tablet or whatever it is. And it is cost effective for a family visiting Natchitoches or living in the region to go. And, it's cost effective, right? You know that, Dr. Sheen.
For sure.
And the education your kids are going to get out of this is, more than what I would take their phone away for the day, unless they're taking photos and posting it on social media.
I agree.
They're allowed to do that.
It's $10 to get in all day. And, children 12 and under are free. I got 5 kids. I know what it's like to not be able to go places because you can't go pay for all those kid tickets. And so we try to keep it as just as low as we can. And, of course, they got Kidfest, and, those ladies, you can drop your child off at Kidfest and they're going to take care of them, and then you can go off and dance and get some food and then come back and pick your kid up and then go see some of the things with them too, because they of course, but Kidfest is right there in the main hall, so they can see the craft, they can hear the music. You were mentioning some of the Hispanic influences we have, those folks are here, and so I was up in Shreveport talking with the guys up at some fantastic people up at 318 Latino, and they have a great online radio station there in Spanish for Spanish-speaking peoples. And they were telling me about some of the wonderful, just amazing talent. And so I got on the phone and, they got me in contact with Grupo de Danza Folclórica Mexicana Quetzali. And they are a group of from East Texas. They are just amazing. They're going to do 3 or 4 costume changes in their show. And they are wanting to share their culture of Mexican folk dancing, and it's incredible.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And Fire of Tierra Caliente, they're going to be their group. They are fiddle and guitar. The folks that make up that group. He went down to Mexico, and he did 2,700. Paul Anastasio did 2,700 hours of documentation of their music styles, just so he could learn it and pass it on to others. And when he did so, other people started paying attention to it also. And the fellow that was doing this guitar style basically said, I'll pass it on to you, but then it's going to die. But as he started to get all this, documentation done, other people learned about how great it was, he said, I have disciples now. I mean, this is going to stay alive. So, or for example, we have a really great thing. Cynthia Ramirez is going to come from New Orleans and make us a Day of the Dead altar right there at the festival, so you can see this altar being built in real time. So, I mean, in my mind, the reason why that, we have on one stage, we've got the Forest People Cajun Band, and another stage, we've got Dancing Blues West, Sonny Goulage and the Blues Groovers, or, and the next stage at the same time, you've got the Zion Harmonizers doing African-American gospel. It's because I love it all. Everyone is invited to this party. And I mean everyone, audience and participants. I want to celebrate all the people of Louisiana because this is their party. This is their festival.
I love that because this Sankey eggs, that's a Czech Ukrainian tradition. That's an Eastern European tradition. But if you have people living in Louisiana and Natchitoches from that region, you might as well celebrate it. And I believe that it creates harmony. It does create harmony and good food, right? So that's why I started with the food. Because look, the more cultures we have in one place, the better food we have. We have so much we can pig out. It's awesome. But I love this also, we were doing a podcast somewhere, with someone and they said, oh, well, you can't get like tamales anywhere, except for this region. I went, have you been to Louisiana? Had, Zwolle tamales? They don't have tamales. I was like, excuse me, let's just stop everything now. Had to do a quick education on this because that's the thing. If once it's a rabbit hole. When you go to this festival, you're going to go into a rabbit hole of what you're going to find something you didn't realize. You know what I mean? Just like Zwolle tamales, which is in it's like northeast Louisiana, would you say? From Manny area, Toledo
Northwest.
Bend region. Yeah, Northwest. Thank you. I don't know how I drive the entire country, but somehow we get there. But
use that MapQuest.
Yeah, I know. No, I just kind of like, all right. But it's beautiful out there, by the way. But the tamales are different than what you would get in the Southwest where we're from, and it's also more of the Native American history connected with Spanish and everything. So it's like humans connect with each other all the time throughout history. No matter what you see, the rest of us are all out. And that's what I think is so great about the folk festival is it shows how cultures have survived and crafts were all started off as utilitarian at the beginning, right? There were like things that needed to happen and then became, as you know, the industrial world came in, they're like, hey, no, you're going to reproduce this. We're going to show you something of how it's handmade. That's why I think it's so important. The music really shows that too. And going into the family thing, I think when we were there, what I loved, and Nancy too, was we saw like generations on stage. We saw like a family band that were incredible. You know, we're talking beyond the Partridge
It might have
Family.
been the Willie Stewart Family and Friends Bluegrass Band. They're going to be here again this year.
Ooh.
And in fact, you know, you talked about how it connects. One of the great ways that this connects is the dancing. You know, Clancy Stewart, she's going to do square dance lessons in the main stage dance floor in the morning of the festival. And then, but not just that, the Alabama Coshada traditional dancers are going to be here from Texas, and they're going to be inviting people to dance with them, their traditional Native American dances. But we also have the Cajun French Music Association dance troupe, and they're going to lead Zydeco dance lessons and Cajun dance lessons. So this is one of those festivals that it's going to be an amazing opportunity to engage with other people by learning these dances or dancing with these traditional folks and making it your own by in a sense, because when you can't do it, you can't engage in culture without investing in yourself. You can't engage in that culture without, you know, putting yourself out there a little bit, you know. And so when you engage in culture, that's when you say, okay, all right, I love this also. And it becomes part of you.
That's the thing, because even at the crafts vendors, they allow you to try something. You know, some of them, they're like, here, why don't you try your hand? Why don't you can touch this, don't touch that, but you can touch this, you know what I mean? I think that's what's so important about actual events. You know, the power of documenting, and during COVID, you guys did an amazing job of, you know, showcasing who would have been at the festivals during COVID, right? During the lockdowns and stuff. Amazing online documentary series. And, I know we do online stuff and magazine, all that is great. We want to call your attention so that you can physically go if you can, because once you're there, then you're immersed in it. Now you start to really get it. There's nothing like it, you know. I know that like college is going online in a lot of places, but it's not the same as going and actually having a in-person discussion about something, right? In college, like in a class.
You know, no, you're exactly right. You know, people right now are a little too satisfied with Pandora and YouTube and you know, these different ways, Spotify, that they can access music.
Oh, yep.
But that's music that is, in a sense, it's a little bit canned. You know, it's produced, it's recorded and then set in stone. While if you go to the festival and you get in the same room as Dickie Doo and the Zydeco crew, and they will start revving up, you know, I'm just gonna like, you know, dare you not to dance, because you're gonna want to. You know, when you were there in the room with the Victory Bells from the World War II Museum, and the Victory Bells stand and start singing these songs that the Andrews Sisters made famous, and they are doing a tribute to our veterans on our stages, and they are looking out into that crowd, some of whom folks, you know, some of our patrons are elderly, and you know, some of them did fight in these wars that kept us safe. It will send the hairs in your arms can stand up. You know, it's incredible. You know, in the Zion Harmonizers, the oldest African American choral group doing gospel music in New Orleans, when they are on stage and they start rolling, you're just going to be amazed at what's going to go. You see in history become the present, become awesome.
Oh, I love that. I love that you say that, history in the present moment, because, and that's the thing. You cannot, it is tinny what happens with streaming music compared to the live performance. I'm a vinyl person, but I can't do it because I travel. But what you're doing is so crucial, and not only is it crucial for the audience, but it's crucial for the musicians to have places to perform. Can I just say that? And for the vendors to have a place. Our world is getting so commercialized with everything online. You know, it's like, if you want to buy the same thing that everybody else is buying for people for Christmas on that online store with an S, then do that. It ain't anything new. But if you go to this folk festival in Natchitoches, you're going to find things that I don't care where you're from and who you're buying for, you're going to find something that goes with them that no one else has because it's handcrafted. There's no two things the same, right?
It's handcrafted crafts and handcrafted music.
I mean, if you have a witch in your family, you could buy her a broom. So,
the folks doing the music at our festival are not using auto-tune, and they're not using a drum, a canned drum kit, drum bass or whatever. It's a live drum. It's a live bass. And you can't beat that, We got Estelle Brown who sang with Aretha, and she sang with Elvis, and she's going to be singing with Johnny Earthquake and the Moondogs. And also in one of our narrative sessions, she's going to be talking about her experiences singing with these greats of rock and gospel. You talked about those conversations. We got things on Delta music. We got Estelle Brown's Life of Music with the Queen of Soul and the King of Rock and Roll. We've got something on the Day of the Dead celebrations, and also we got the music performances. With the groups coming in. So you're in a room with about 50 people, and you're that close to the artist, and they're up there talking, and about what they do, and then they say, you know what, this reminds me of the song. And they start singing that song right there in front of you. And then after that, you can ask a question about that song right there, because they're all the folk. They're all, they are masters of their craft. And they're all also just Louisianans who also like to eat gumbo. So, it breaks those big, we don't have divas. It breaks those walls down. Everyone's just a folk. Because everyone, when someone gets up and starts singing something from a French Creole culture, then everyone in the French Creole culture, they're singing for them. When the Alabama and Cachetta are singing their traditional songs, they're singing for the whole tribe, and they're sharing it with us in a way that we can feel the magic and the meaning of why they find it so important to their culture, and they are giving us that privilege, and they're also having the privilege, like you said, of sharing it, because when you share the beauty to somebody else, you see twice the beauty yourself.
Well, this really goes with what you just said, is with the theme, the old songs live forever.
Yeah, for sure. There's a reason they do, because they're great.
They're great. Everybody talks about the Great American Songbook, and it's getting bigger. But honestly, I think these events are just so crucial to humanity, really, to have these actual interactions that really keep us grounded and to remember our ancestry. Genealogy, and you guys are part of that with the Folklife Center, right? Genealogy and knowing your roots and connecting with them. And every time, when you get into your family history and you find something, there's that goosebump moment. This is a festival of goosebumps. Okay. You have so many bands, the Thistle Dancers and Pipers, Zion Harmonizers. Ooh. And then, I want to, before you go, you've got the Forest Duval Cajun Band. Did I pronounce that right? I don't know how to pronounce anything.
Yeah, the Forest Duval Cajun Band.
You got Sonny Goulash. Am I saying that? And the Blues Groovers? Goulash?
Yep.
Oh, man, He looks like fun. Johnny Earthquake and the Moondogs. Why is he so familiar to me?
Because he's played everywhere.
Okay. Okay, well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
But
they are.
So Johnny Earthquake and the Moondogs were just inducted into the Louisiana Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So we just did that. We had that at the Jazz Fest. They were one of the headliners at the Jazz Fest, and they were all, they brought back in members over the last 30 years to be inducted into the Louisiana Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, see, there it is. There it is. And speaking of the Hall of Fame, Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, the induction ceremony is coming up soon, everyone.
This weekend starts Thursday.
All right. Well, check that out.
Go.
Yeah, you gotta go. I mean, Louisiana's got a lot going. The narrative sessions, that is something that we really enjoyed when we were there. And, I wanted to touch because it's a lot of the people that are part of the festival itself, actually sitting down and having those communications, demonstration, talking. I remember when Tab Benoit was there, and I had no clue he was out there to clean up the water of Louisiana, clean up the bay,
that's his passion.
And I didn't know any of that part of him. And I was like, holy cow, like, what can we do? Um, so one thing I wanted to touch on, that it seems that you guys are doing getting into more accessibility, that in the narrative sessions that you're doing ASL interpretation, also providing assistive listening devices and audio descriptions for the discussions, if people contact you ahead of time. That is pretty amazing. I love that.
Well, we want to make the festival accessible for everyone. The welcome ceremony last year was, the whole thing was ASL live right there. The ASL interpreter will be at the festival all day long. And we have, the people, the director of the N Club room where the narrative sessions take place. Dr. Doolin is fully trained in audio description. So, if they give us a call, 318-357-4332, or if you go to our website, you're going to find us. And you don't have to know the whole address. If you just put Louisiana Folklife Center into any kind of, web, search engine, you're going to find us. And, you can make that request, and we will have that for you, because it helps us to get a little bit notice, so that we're able to have things set up for you. But the ASL interpreter will be there all day long.
That is fantastic. And everyone, the link is in the show notes, the episode description. So you can just click right through to that. I think that's fantastic. I want to thank everyone for joining us. Did I leave anything out, Dr. Shane? Because I know there's a lot going on.
I just want to give one quick shout out to the Louisiana State Fiddle Championship. Is also part of the festival.
I knew it. I missed something big. Dang.
No worries.
You're a professor.
Well, I have the cheat notes in front of me, but it's something you can't forget about, because it's so great. And if there are fiddlers out there from Louisiana, you can play at this festival, and we got cash prizes for the Fiddle Championship. And if you're just a fiddle fan, come and watch really an amazing event. It's friendly and yet deeply competitive, because everyone wants to do their very best, but also they're all just having a good time together, kind of like a hootenanny. So the festival has this as a great component. We also want to say thank you. If folks like Big Blend were not out there getting the word out, we would be dead in the water. You guys are amazing. Thank you for what you do to keep culture alive. And thank you to the folks that, like the Louisiana Endowment for the Humanities, the folks downtown, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, the Natchitoches Historic District Development Commission, Jazz and Heritage Foundation, the Louisiana Village of the Arts, and not just the LDOA, the Louisiana Village of the Arts, but also the folks you named recently, the Cane River National Heritage Area. These are folks that care about culture, and they help us out, and therefore they help everyone out by keeping the festival alive. And I want to say thank you to them.
Oh, I agree. We want to thank the Natchitoches Convention Visitor Bureau. We've been doing this show for years. Nicole, I mean, it's been a long time, and it's important because, hey, Natchitoches is the oldest settlement. So I'm glad we're here doing it. And we would never have been know about you guys if it wasn't for them. And we would never have gotten to the festival if it wasn't for them. So thank you to Natchitoches CVB. So Natchitoches.com, Natchitoches.com is where you go.
We love events like these. We are very passionate about our history and being able to share with the world our history, where we started, where we are now, and everything we've learned in between. So we look forward to the folk festival every year. We appreciate all the hard work that the staff puts into it. And it's really just a great way to showcase all the talent that we have in our area. It's just amazing.
I think it's such a perfect thing. Like if you go, especially tie, like what you said at the beginning, Dr. Shane, like if you tie it into all the historic sites, and go downtown to some of the bars and restaurants and listen to some of the live music too, beforehand too, like just kind of get that vibe. And then you go to the festival, it will give you the biggest picture of all of what went down in history, what it's like now, and how it's progressing to the future. Because that's what I found about the folk festival was so great is it was a tribute to the past, the present, and the future. And I think that's
people
so
are still doing this right now. Yeah. History, Natchitoches is where history and heritage live. They're alive. They're glowing. Folks, come and share it with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you both for joining us on the show again. It is always fun. The only thing that I am bummed about, Nancy and I both, is that we will not be in Natchitoches for the festival this year. So we hope you guys, all that go there, post everything on the social media. Let everybody know about what an amazing place it is. Showcase it on social media. Hashtag Go Natchitoches. Is that right, Nicole?
It is. Yes.
Yes. Post that everywhere. Like really. I mean, it goes beyond the selfie. Let people know. And that way we can be there, and watch it, where we will be at that time on the road. But, we're just going to be bummed because we'd like to be there every single year because it does change up. So thank you all for joining us. Take care and go to Natchitoches.com. And also again, that website again is louisianafolklife.nsula.edu. And those links are in the show notes. Thank you both.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on our Big Blend Radio Go to Natchitoches show. Keep up with us at bigblendradio.com and plan your adventure in Natchitoches. Go to Natchitoches.com. That is Natchitoches.com. Natchitoches.com.